These teenagers have something in common. They all have type 2 diabetes, and they have plenty of company. It's estimated that 20 million Americans have this condition. Increasingly, that number includes young people like Brandy, Josh, Erica, and Irma. They are sharing their stories, along with actress and comedienne Liz Torres, to help you learn how to manage type 2 diabetes. You'll hear from medical experts as well. It's all about helping you stay on target to stay healthy.
Of all the comrades.
You might recognize Liz Torres from the many roles she has played in television and film. She knows what it takes to succeed in a demanding business.
I take every job that comes down the pike. I take maids, I do my accents. Somebody said once, if you pick something in life that you love to do, you'll never have to work a day in your life. And that's the way I feel about my work. I just love it. And I wish them all one more day to stay.
The New York neighborhood where Liz grew up is trendy now, but when she was young, it was a very different kind of place.
Poverty. I grew up in Hell's Kitchen. I was the poorest, I was the lowest caste there is. And then I became a comic, which was a step up. I started out as a dancer and I had operatic scholarships. I played piano, I went to Manhattan School of Music. I can paint a set, I can build a set. There's nothing in theater I can't do.
That positive attitude has served Liz Torres well in her award-winning career. It also helps her
and still have fun in life, and loving what I do keeps me going.
Making a commitment to the future. That's something everyone with type 2 diabetes needs to do. The first step is learning more about just what it is you're managing and why. Brandy is an active 5th grader, and she has type 2 diabetes. That means she needs help processing the sugar or glucose in food, because a hormone her body makes called insulin isn't doing its job.
The main reason that you have insulin is to take the digested glucose from the food you eat and put it into your cells for energy and growth.
People who cannot make insulin at all have type 1 diabetes. People with type 2 diabetes have what's called insulin resistance.
What it means is that even though the individual is making adequate amounts of insulin, maybe even more insulin than someone else, it's not being used by the body.
If insulin isn't helping the glucose get into the cells, the glucose, or sugar, builds up in the blood. That can lead to damage to your kidneys, eyes, nerves, and blood vessels. That's why it's so important to control your blood sugar. Type 2 diabetes used to be considered a disease that only adults could develop, but it is becoming more common in preteens, teens, and young adults.
Many of these young people have family members who've had type 2 diabetes, and some of these family members have unfortunately had long-term complications from diabetes. What my team and I tell these young folks and their families is that with proper care, proper self-management, and communication with our diabetes team, they can have very good lives with good health outlooks.
Something that increases your chance of getting an illness is called a risk factor. Being overweight or eating a poor diet are two major risk factors for type 2 diabetes. But as Dr. Orzek explains to young patients, that does not mean they caused their diabetes.
I explained to them that this is not their fault, that diabetes is a condition which may be aggravated by certain events, weight for instance, but often is an ethnic issue from their genetics in the background and their family history.
So family history, having a parent, brother, or sister with diabetes, is a risk factor. So are certain ethnic backgrounds, such as being African American, American Indian, Asian American, a Pacific Islander, or Hispanic American, Latino. It also increases your risk if you have a kind of diabetes in pregnancy, called gestational diabetes. Other risk factors include giving birth to a baby weighing more than 9 pounds, and high blood pressure or high cholesterol levels. For Brandy, type 2 diabetes runs in the family. Her mother, LaShondria, found out she had it just last year. Diabetes is a part of Liz Torres's family history as well.
My grandmother had it and my aunt had it, one aunt. And I became heavy and then it hit me.
Brandy is fortunate. Her mother noticed a change in behavior and did something about it.
She didn't have that energy and she kept falling asleep. I knew something was wrong. And then my husband was telling me she was drinking a lot of water. So that was one of the signs. We took her to the doctor. I told her I have type 2 diabetes and they said we need to check her. And they checked her and found out she did.
Common signs of diabetes include the need to urinate frequently, feeling thirsty all the time, feeling hungry even right after a meal, feeling very tired, tingling or loss of feeling in feet, having sores that heal slowly, blurred vision, and recurring vaginal yeast infections. But many people with type 2 diabetes don't know they have it. They might not notice the signs, which can come on slowly. That's why it's very important to have regular checkups, especially teens and young adults.
Type 2 diabetes is frequently diagnosed just as a part of a regular physical.
If your doctor thinks you might have diabetes, you'll be asked to not eat for 8 hours and then have a blood test. The resulting number is called a fasting blood glucose level. Less than 100 is normal. From 100 to 125 is called prediabetes. It means you're at risk. A blood glucose level of 126 or higher usually leads to a diagnosis of diabetes. That can be scary, especially when you're young. Josh was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes when he was in 8th grade.
I was sad and I was shocked. I didn't know what to think because I didn't know much about it.
When a young person is first diagnosed with diabetes, that young person and their parents and their families may feel angry and depressed with this diagnosis. Why did it happen to me? What's going to happen to me? Hello, how are things going?
One of the first things to happen could be a referral to a doctor who specializes in treating diabetes, an endocrinologist.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
You might also meet with a diabetes educator or a dietitian or nutritionist. Erica and Irma are sisters. They do their homework together, and they test their blood sugar together. They know how important it is because their mother, Marie, also has type 2 diabetes. They know she has health problems now because she didn't manage her illness when she was younger.
For lots of